it's Mr. Keys, and today we're going to talk about using fifths with bass lines. In the last video, we spoke about the octave, and I had mentioned that an octave meant that one note was always 8 notes away from another. A fifth is another type of interval that is 5 letter names above the root of the chord. It is also a note that is part of whatever chord we're on, and that will be the easiest way for us to try and figure out what the fifth is for each chord. Here's the progression that we're using. So A minor for 2 bars, and we're in 4/4. E minor for 2 bars. F major for 2 bars. C major and G major. So that's what the progression looks like. Now for the A minor chord, A is the root, C is the third, and E is the fifth. For the E minor chord, E is the root, G is the third, and B is the fifth. For the F major chord, F is the root, A is the third, C is the fifth. For the C major chord, C is the root, E is the third, and G is the fifth. And for the G major chord, G is the root, B is the third, and D is the fifth. So we're going to try a couple patterns. The first pattern is going to be the root plus the upper fifth. So for example, for A minor, this is our root, this is our upper fifth. This would be the lower fifth. So that's a little example with the root and upper fifth. The fifth is really just a supporting note. The root is the main note for the chord, so the bass note should always be on the root for the most part. Let's try another example. This time we'll do the root plus the lower fifth. The rhythm is really what makes the bass line shine. Let's try another example. This time we're going to do the root plus the upper fifth plus the lower fifth. So once again, I stayed on the root for the most part, and then maybe about half the bar I was using the fifths. But generally, we're using the roots a lot more than we're using the fifths. So in this example, I'm going to combine the root, the upper fifth, and the upper octave. So for example, for A minor, it would be A, E for the upper fifth, and A for the upper octave. And I'll go up and down. The order of the notes does not really matter as long as you start the pattern for each chord on the root. So these are just some of the patterns that we can do with fifths. These techniques are used for the bass instrument in many different genres. Make sure that you use your ears when you're creating these patterns. There is such a thing as too many notes being played. So use this technique sparingly and avoid using any one technique too much. As we go through these lessons and techniques, you'll have more and more skills that you can add to your arsenal.